Well, this is probably going to be the biggest video of the year. Well, I said it a few times during my revisit, so I say it's high time to finally talk about it. Without beating around the bush, welcome to my full and complete review of Netflix's Castlevania.
Enjoy the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new non-gaming related review. Tonight, I'm taking a look at Castlevania. Castlevania is an adult animated dark fantasy series created by Warren Ellis and premiered on Netflix in July of 2017 before ending in May of 2021, lasting 4 full seasons. The series took elements from multiple Castlevania games, specifically Dracula's Curse for the plot and premise, Curse of Darkness, since Hector and Isaac are included, and finally Symphony of the Night, given a la carte design and the fact that the series' art style was inspired by Ayami Kojima's artwork for the franchise, starting with Symphony. Oh boy, my personal history. I certainly have history with this. I first discovered the fact that this franchise had a Netflix series via the Honest Game Trailers video on Castlevania the franchise. I then saw a video by Renegade Reacts on episode 1. Eventually, a family friend and I sat down and we binged season 1, which didn't take that long given it was just 4 episodes long, so roughly an hour. But immediately I was hooked, lined, and sinker. In fact, it's because of Castlevania the series that I got into the franchise as a whole. Season 2 came, absolutely loved it. Season 3, not as good as the previous 2 seasons, but passable. But Season 4, man, even though I personally felt like Castlevania should have ended on Season 2, I'll admit some tears were shed during Season 4's finale, especially since I was following the series since Season 1. I am also very much aware that I did previously do a review, in massive quotes there, on the series roughly 5 years ago when Season 3 were making the rounds. But I'm going to talk about all 4 seasons in this video. So, without any further delay, let's answer the question. Is Castlevania any good? And is it a show I can recommend to you? Let's find out. Alright, kicking this off with Season 1's story. So Season 1's plot is pretty short. It opens on a woman, Lisa, which if you played the games would see her as the mother of Alucard and Dracula's second wife. So Episode 1 is pretty much a prologue of what's to come. We all know what happened to Lisa. She and Dracula meet. She eventually got dragged to at least tolerate humans. They fall in love, get married, and have little baby Adrian. And Lisa gets accused of witchcraft and thus gets burned at the stake. Drac gives all of humanity a year to make amends, and he ends up bringing hell on all of Wallachia. And it ends on a cliffhanger where we are introduced to 1/3 of our makeshift D&D trio, Trevor Belmont. Trevor, after losing terribly at a bar brawl, goes to the city of Gratia, where he is met by a tribe of speakers after rescuing their elder from a couple of the bishop's not-so-Christian sidekicks. One of the younger speakers told Trevor that the reason why they are sticking in the city that clearly wants them to either leave or be dead is because the elder's granddaughter is in the catacombs looking for someone named the Sleeping Soldier. Of course, Trevor, being a Belmont, goes do such a task and rescues the second third of the trio, Sypha Belnadis, from a stone-eyed Cyclops ripped straight from the same boss fight in Castlevania 3. Trevor tells the tribe, since he had a small little meeting with the bishop who helped orchestrate Lisa's execution, that the tribe will be brutally murdered by the townsfolks. But Trevor, finding his calling, helps them and is later assisted by Sypha, and they, along with the now convinced townsfolks that the bishop is well off his damn mind, and fights back against the Night Horde. Eventually, it led Trevor and Sypha deeper into the catacombs of Gratia, where they meet the blonde-haired pretty boy himself, Alucard. after Trevor proves himself to Al in quite possibly the best animated fight scene in Season 1. Now, with our favorite duo of idiots and the group mom now established, that ends Season 1. Now, before we move on to Season 2, I just want to take this chance to talk about what I think of the story so far. So first off, this series does try to paint Dracula in a more somewhat sympathetic light. And to me, at least, it does work at humanizing him, even if it's just by a tiny bit. Believe me, he is still fairly irredeemable, but I can't really say I blame him, given how much power he has in general, as one of, if not the strongest vampire in this show's universe. While some people might see this as, I guess, anti-Christian or anti-religion, I don't know, but that's a rabbit hole I am not going down. Keep in mind, this is taking the premise of an NES game and expanding upon it with creative liberties. You know for a fact that some ultra diehard fans are still gonna complain about how this isn't one-to-one adaptation to the game since Trevor doesn't do that stupid strut. Okay, that would be funny to see. As for the characterizations of at least Trevor and Sypha, I could certainly say I do like them. Keep in mind, I have played the games, but frankly, I do love the characterization of Trevor and Sypha and the banter that they have with each other. As for Alucard, even when I first watched this, I knew he was most likely the fanbase's favorite. Long blonde hair, pretty in general, and a damper to boot. How the fuck is he not Tumblr sexy man? But yeah, after playing the games, Alucard's characterization here stayed just about the same. What's also helping are some amazing voice performances, though the only ones I recognized were Alejandra Reynoso, who voiced Sypha, and Graham McTavish, who voices Dracula. I mainly recognized Reynoso as the voice of Flora from Winx Club, specifically the Nickelodeon dub, and as for Graham McTavish, prior to me checking out Dante's Inferno, I did recognize him as the voice of Joseph Bertrand III in Infamous 2. But honestly, Richard Armitage did amazing for Trevor, and James Callis did wonderfully for capturing the tragedy that is Alucard's character. Though, fun bit of trivia, Trevor's Japanese voice actor for the series, hope I am not butchering this, but knowing me, I'll most likely butcher this name to hell and back. Ryutaro Okiyaru is also the original Japanese voice for Alucard in the games. I think I just heard a whip cracked about 600 years too late. But now, let's move on to Season 2. So Season 2 picks up right where Season 1 left off, though Season 2 focused a lot more on Dracula and his now established vampire council. It's here we are introduced to Dracula's Devil Forge masters, Hector and Isaac, as well of a few one-know-nothing vampires, as well as Carmilla and Godbrand. To briefly sum up Season 2, our main trio finds the Belmont estate, Trevor finds the Morningstar Web, they storm the castle, Hector's character gets assassinated, and it begins. Isaac gets yeeted into the desert while trying to save Dracula. Dracula and Alucard fight, ending with him staking Dracula through the heart, and Trevor and Sypha, now a confirmed couple, leaves Alucard, who is now in charge of both the castle and the Belmont estate. And that was Season 2. In terms of writing, it does offer more humor on both of our main trio, especially with Trevor and Alucard.
Fortunate indeed, then, that I chose not to kill you and eat you, Belmont.
And that I decided against gutting you, flaying you, and turning you into shoes, Alucard.
Such a merry band we are. I will find us a covered wagon and horses if you two can manage not to kill each other while I'm gone.
Oh, please. We're not children.
He shouldn't die.
Yes, fuck you.
But also on the Vampire Council side, Godbrand. Just Godbrand as a whole is hilarious, and is honestly my favorite vampire out of this season. He's crude, he's crass, and he's very much rude, especially with his banter with Carmilla. Honestly, Season 2 might just be my favorite out of the 4 seasons, and personally, I think this is where the series should have ended. But we have Season 3. God have mercy on me. So the time gap between Season 2 and 3 is roughly a month. Alucard is pretty much how everyone was back in 2020. Trevor and Sypha are out doing side quests, Isaac is still in the desert, and Hector is pretty much a prisoner to Carmilla and the now established Council of Sisters, consisting of Marana, Striga, and Lenore. Honestly, there's no central plot per se regarding Season 3, since each faction of characters have their own separate plots. Trevor and Sypha are investigating a satanic cult that is trying to bring back Dracula from hell. Alucard is teaching these two once hostages, Taka and Sumi, on how to fight vampires, and Hector's character gets assassinated even further, especially when Lenore slipped a slave ring onto Hector's finger while they were doing the horizontal tango. I mean, can't say I blame Hector. Game is game. You are so unbelievably single. On so many levels. I know. But yeah, if there's one thing I can say about Castlevania Season 3, is that they kinda ramped up the nudity in the last few episodes, and even in some of the early episodes. I mean, we saw Trevor and Sypha in what's most likely them being post-plowing, Hector and Lenore plow, and we learned that Alucard in this universe is bisexual. All of which I am not going to show because I am not risking a community guideline strike here. Alucard did kill Taka and Sumi since they were about to kill him, and that certainly left him with more trauma than he already has, as well as trust issues for a while. But, yeah, Season 3 is just... It was just filler. It's not bad, but man, such a step down from Season 2. Some of the characters are good, like the captain, who did inadvertently give Isaac a much-needed therapy session, and I guess the judge was okay, though fun fact, he's voiced by Jason Isaacs, which, for all of you veteran Castlevania fans, you will most definitely recognize him as the voice of Satan in the Lords of Shadow games. Oh yeah, this here we are introduced to the enigmatic Saint Germain, and he's just about as mysterious as his original Curse of Darkness counterpart. So how does Season 4 end all this? Season 4 picks up 6 weeks after Season 3, and for the most part, it's just like Season 3, with episodes focusing on Trevor and Sypha, Alucard, the Council and Hector, and Isaac. Though, with this being the final season, a lot of stuff in this franchise do close out, such as Trevor and Sypha reuniting with Alucard while an army attacks the castle, Isaac and Carmilla engage in one of the coolest animated fights in this season, ending with Carmilla pretty much being a petty-ass bitch and killing herself before Isaac could land the killing blow. Oh, and Hector cuts off his finger and thus the slave ring no longer works. Though one of the biggest plot twists comes from the character of Barney, who turns out was death in disguise.
And I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or in any other fancy way. I'm death. Straight up.
Both him and Barney being voiced by one of the biggest names ever, fucking Malcolm McDowell, as in Alex DeLarge from Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, and Dr. Sam Loomis in Rob Zombie's Halloween remakes. And this version of death...
Why is it that only human hands can reach into hell? Don't you think that's weirdly fucked up? I can't do it. I was put here at the dawn of life on Earth to feed on the last breath of every one of you fuckers. I'm a little more than a thing.
You don't make anything, you don't live. You just eat and hide.
Is there a point to this? Are you dictating your fucking obituary to me, Belmont? I'm going to eat your soul, shit it out, and use it to smother your fucking girlfriend to death.
Has about as much of a sailor's mouth as I tend to have. I'm not mad, but I'm curious as to why. Well, either way, Trevor kills Death, Lenore dies, which actually made me scream no when I first viewed this, revealed that Trevor survived the fight, and Dracula and Lisa are also resurrected. Series conclude! Phew, man. So, that was the story, and honestly, I still liked it. for the most part. The first two seasons were so incredibly good, from adapting an NES game that didn't have much plot to begin with, and expanding it into this dark fantasy epic, as well as adapting stuff from the other games like Curse of Darkness in regards to Hector and Isaac being there. But Season 3 might be my least favorite, mostly because of the fact that we're constantly switching from different plot points.
Pick one. Pick one.
As well as the unnecessary sex scenes with Hector and Lenore, as well as Alucard with Taka and Sumi. I felt like I had to watch these scenes in private, and when I first viewed this back in 2020, I constantly had to look over my shoulder to make sure nobody walked in on me. As for the characters, as stated before, I absolutely love the main trio. Granted, this was my first ever exposure to them, but the fact that I enjoyed their chemistry so much, even without playing the games until I witnessed Season 1, that should say enough about how much I loved them. Trevor and Alucard especially being my favorites because of their small banter in Season 2. Sypha was pretty good as well, with basically being the group mom. As for the villains, I still love this take on Dracula, making him more of a tragic figure, someone who lashed out from grief, basically having his war on humanity being his trying not to get a community guideline strike here with this Alt F4 note. Okay, that should fool the censors. Hector and Isaac were okay. I will admit, after playing Curse of Darkness, I can see why veteran fans aren't happy with how Hector was portrayed here. Though, Isaac was pretty decent. Carmilla, I love her double-crossing scheming ass a lot. Doesn't take shit, talk shit, yes! Morana and Striga were decent as well. They just didn't have a whole lot of character. Lenore, I absolutely love, especially with her relationship with Hector, going from master and underling to what can I assume is genuine love? Don't quote me on that. But yeah, overall, I absolutely love the story. Outside of the final few episodes of Season 3, I could have really gone without the sex scenes. But now, let's move on to that presentation. Man, even with the bridging, you still made the story section the longest. It's like when you used to tell the full story. Wade, for the love of everything, cram it. In terms of presentation, Castlevania looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. Animated by Powerhouse Animations, with it being their second project following 2013's It's a Small World, the series, Castlevania's animation is simply beautiful. And if there's a few things I could praise this series for, it's the action scenes whenever fire is on the screen, and of course, the gore. And if you're squeamish, yeah, no, this ain't for you. Literally in the second episode, Trevor whipped someone's eye out of its socket. As for the character designs, I still like them. Outside of Curse of Darkness, Netflix Trevor might still be my favorite design for the character. Sypha looks pretty good, though there's not a whole lot of references to go off of outside of her Judgment appearance. And Alucard's design is obviously heavily Symphony of the Night inspired. Hell, in Season 4, he finally gets to use the shield and finally wears the damn cape. Isaac's design, while being a massive departure from how he looked in Curse of Darkness, I really don't mind due to this being an alternate retelling of the original Castlevania 3 story. Hector's design is basically one-to-one with his original design, and Carmilla's appearance changes a lot in the game, so I'm not that bothered by her design here. There's so many characters here that will be here all day. In short, I love how the original Netflix exclusive characters look, and I do like some of the new designs for pre-existing characters. As for OST, I mean, it's pretty good. Opening fits the vibe that the series is going for. I do kind of wish that the series used more music from the games. I mean, there's a reason why Season 2, Episode 7 for Love is my favorite episode out of this entire series. Because it uses a new rendition of the iconic Bloody Tears from Simon's Quest. But, for the most part, the music is atmospheric for the more calm moments and more loud whenever a large-scale fight is happening. Now, let's recap. I think the story is pretty good at adapting the plot of Castlevania 3 for the first 2 seasons. While Season 3 is a mixed bag, Season 4 more than made up for it. Presentation-wise, it looks amazing. And OST, it's pretty decent. Now, let's close this massive project of a video with my final thoughts. So, overall, now that I've played the games, do I still enjoy Castlevania, the Netflix series? Honestly, I did. For the most part. Season 1 was great because it got me into the games. Season 2 is where the series peaked and, to me, should have ended. Season 3 was hella mixed and somewhat skippable for the most part. And Season 4 was a great way to close out this otherwise amazing series. If you're new to the Castlevania franchise and want an easy introduction, I'd say only watch Seasons 1 and 2, then go play the games, and then return for Seasons 3 and 4. So, overall, Castlevania, the Netflix series, gets my final score of a 7.5 out of 10. But as always, I want to know from you all. Did you watch Castlevania? What did you think of it? What game should be adapted next? And is it a show you could recommend to a friend? Please leave your answers and more down in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and while you're here, consider subscribing and turn on the bell to be notified whenever I make a new video. As always, my social media links are down below. Follow me on Twitch to be up to date on whatever goes on whenever I'm not making new videos. I've been Horror Kid the Reviewer, and I will see you all in the next review. Take care, everybody.